I mean, you guys, big thing. I mean, you got a new upline. You went with Bobby Brock, and then
years ago now, yeah.
Yeah, and so now it's you. It was you and Trey. That's new to your team. You guys were 1 and 2. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, because I feel like people probably were like, this guy's just talking shit that he knows all this. But like, you got that same playbook. You taught somebody else, helped him achieve something that you've done. So then, like, how does that feel for you?
Well, it validates my system for sure, because there is that element of, well, Joshua can do it, but the average person can't. And that's not to say that he's average in any way, because he's not. That's really what it takes. What he is a testament to the right system and process combined with the right individual, with the right work ethic, with the right mindset, with the right skill set, that all those things line up. And then you have, I mean, because the number of apps that he did, we're talking about top 1% of the top 1% of all Medicare brokers in the country. If you figure there's, I don't know, probably 20 million agents across the country, you're in the top 1%, top 1%. First year.
So just to give people a perspective, how many apps was that?
565, which there's 52 days to do it, so that's more than 10 a day, every day, 7 days a week for 6 weeks. No time off. He even worked Thanksgiving, which I usually don't. I always said I always write one app on Thanksgiving, but I think he did like 14. Which, if you think about it, the natural inclination is to think of, oh, it's the holidays, so nobody wants to talk about insurance. The reality is, it's like one of the best days you can call because you know everybody's home.
That's
Nothing's open. Nobody's out shopping.
And if
literally everybody's at home, it's like the perfect day to call.
And if
they
like,
answer, the whole family's right there too.
Or if they're like, let me talk to my husband. Like, all right, he's in the kitchen.
Put me on speaker.
Well, not only that, you're talking to a lot of people. Like, at this age, people pass away, so they don't have a significant other to sit there and chat on Thanksgiving with. So giving them that person to talk to, wishing them a happy Thanksgiving, because a lot of people, like, we're fortunate to have like families and stuff like that to be able to spend Thanksgiving with, to give a call, to give thanks to. A lot of people, not everybody has that. So like giving them that person to talk to was my big selling point. Like, I just want to start the call by wishing you a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're having a good day, seeing family and things like that. That was like the cream of the creme. They were eating that up. But like,
and just being like genuine with them.
Being
too.
genuine. Like,
they say like that's why like we see like all over the news like January is when more terrorist attacks and shit happen because people spend the holidays by themselves and then they're like they get all depressed by themselves and they just start going crazy.
Exactly.
How'd you recruit Trey? That's it.
Market. So somebody else saw me on a YouTube interview I did with someone else that he reached out to me, and then next thing you know, he has me do a call with him and Trey. And that's usually where most rock stars come from. They don't come from a cold market. They come from a warm market. So
when you talk to him, though, like because, I mean, you've been in the game, so you kind of know when someone's kind of full of it or not.
Well,
so, like,
no? Everybody always says the right thing. Everybody always says, I'm going to be the hardest working, best agent you ever. Everybody says that. He did too. I think the difference with him, I think the third word out of his mouth was fuck, which tells me a lot about his personality and mindset. And so typically the top of the food chain killers, if you will, have very colorful language. And so usually, or it's the other end, so it's either the top of the barrel or the bottom of the barrel that's usually using the sailor language. But in reality, most people, if left alone, talk freely like that. And so knowing that he had that kind of confidence and comfortability, but I never saw it coming. There's no way I could have ever seen it coming.
I mean, after all the trainings you do and you talk to so many people, they all say the same thing. So after a while, you're just like, yeah, whatever.
Well, I got to wait to see what happens.
Prove it. Yeah.
And because some of them have the ability, they just need to be developed into it. It's kind of like the rookie quarterback who has all the talent, but you put him on the wrong team and
happens every year
with the wrong mindset and the wrong system and the wrong everything. And so he's been in the wrong situations a few times, but he's still flourished. at the end of the day, I would call it, you can either call it luck or you can call it God. I prefer to lean towards the God side of things, that God put Trey in my path to allow me to transition to the next phase. Because we've talked about it a few years now that I've been trying to get out of the field and trying to transition. My production was so much of the revenue of the agency that it's very difficult to do that without taking a big step backwards first. Where now I'm able to do that, and we're technically taking a step forward, not backwards, because of the volume and the revenue increase. Because in some respects, Trey's been like a little mini Peyton Manning in that everybody on the team is getting better because of his presence. Because now they see it's possible, versus it's just Joshua doing it every year. And so that's part of it, but it's a testament to Trey more than me.
What's something that you look for when you're recruiting? Like, what are some things that, some pros and cons that you're like, okay, this guy's not going to do it, or this.
Well, you want people that don't make excuses. You want people that find solutions instead of excuses. You want people that present well. You want people that don't talk a big game. Because usually the loud ones, in my experience, are inflated. It's usually self-inflated, and so I try to avoid the noisy ones. But honestly, at this point, I've tried for a long time to figure out how do I find the rock stars and only the rock stars, because in a perfect world, you don't want to go through 10 dipshits to find the 2 rock stars or 1 rock star. But the reality is there's no way around that. And what I can say, though, is about a year and a half ago, I made what's the right word I'm looking for? A intentional change in how I presented myself. So I for the first few years, I tried to just present as, everything to everybody, and I'm not too high, I'm not too low, I'm not going to try to flex my success, I'm not going to try to do this, do that. Where the reality is, just being myself for the last 2 years has attracted a ton more of the right people. Because that's what I need, people that are in alignment with how I am, because I'm a very difficult person to get along with. If you're not like me, then I'll.
Like
you think I'm an asshole.
In what ways do you mean? Just like you being able to talk however you want, carry yourself.
It's a defense mechanism for me. In my early youth, I tried to be everything to everybody, and so you get taken advantage of when you're the nice guy, so to speak. And so I created a resting bitch face, which I still have to this day. I created just a mindset where most people from afar think, like, people tell Aaron all the time, why is he so mad, or why is he such an asshole, or the reality is that's what I want you to think, so you stay the hell away. But the flashiness, the jewelry, the car, the gambling, the reality is most times when I go, whether it's Blackhawk or Vegas or whatever, I'm playing per hand what most people would consider crazy. Like for a lot of people,
how much?
Well, last time I was up there, I was playing $500 a hand. I'll play $1,000 a hand. I'll play $2,000 a hand. Because I'm trying to get in, get the money, and get the hell out of there. I'm still working on the get the hell out of there part. I'm really good at getting the money part. But that part of the authenticity of me, I love gambling. I'm a highly competitive person. I produce at high levels. I talk shit. I do all those things, but that's authentically me. And when you're able to do that over a consistent period of time, then you start to attract people that like that. Versus what I would do is pretend I'm not like that, and I would attract a bunch of people that aren't like that. And then whenever that shit would come out of me, they're just like, "Whoa, what's going on?" Turned off, or they would move on. Or
if you want someone like you, you have to act like yourself.
You got to be you to attract you. I don't think there's anything different other than I just made a decision that I don't care what people think. Maybe it's because I turned 40. I don't know what it is. But at this point, I could care less what anybody else thinks other than my family, my handful of friends, because I keep a small circle. But
yeah, I would say priorities change as you start going more through life. You start valuing different aspects and different perspective of people and things, and just everything. But for you, Trey, like when you first I mean, you guys met through a worm call. Like, what was something that you've seen in him that you're like, let's do this shit?
I'd say like how quiet he was. Like I didn't realize like, I mean it sounds crazy, but like I could tell like he was reading everything we were saying. It wasn't just like, you could tell he'd been through the recruiting game for a while. You could tell like he was over it, like not I don't want to say over it, but like what he was looking for. You know, like you could feel that he was looking for a certain, I guess you could say, caliber of talent, to where I was just like I said earlier, like finding a mentor is probably one of the hardest things, and finding somebody that's been through, I wouldn't say necessarily what I've been through, but always hunting for people. Like I've been through that. I've been through exactly like he was saying, the fake promises that I'm going to be the best, I'm going to outproduce. Like I've been through that as well. So to me, I was just like, all I need is somebody to be there with me. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just like,
because it was a big jump that you did, because you were in Utah, you moved all the way here, so it's like, that's not like a small little change.
How long were you like looking for a change before you found Joshua or got in contact with him?
Since probably about August of 23.
And when was it when you actually hopped on with Joshua's team?
July, wasn't it?
Like June, like
June,
the end of
July?
June, July of 24.
Okay, so you were looking for a while then, huh?
Yeah, because like I don't want to toot my own horn, but once you start to have, like, I'm not saying live off past victories, but once I've done big things, it's like, why would I go somewhere where I'm going to have to teach, I guess, like the culture that I'm looking for? Like versus like landing with Joshua, like I like we almost like just aligned to where it was just like, hey, this is what we're going to do, and here's how we got to do it, to where it was like silent, like locked in. You know what I mean? It wasn't like there was a bunch said about it. It was just like, hey, I was like, I'm going to do this. And like you said earlier, everybody says that, to where it just all aligned and fell into place.
So instead of like building up like your own like culture and your own like people, you found it better to just
he found a lot of the similar, he had like a lot of the similar, like, I guess you could call it traits that he was looking for in people. Like I've always said, ever since I've been in a recruiting industry, I don't just want anybody, I want the top of the top. And then meeting Joshua, he had the same mindset on our call. Like, I don't just bring anybody in. Like, basically that mindset, I was like, I have that same thing. Like, I don't necessarily, I get, like, in recruiting, you have to deal with the bottom people to find the me's and the Joshuas out there. But I was like, I have to be able to train these people. You know what I mean? Like, we have to be able to transition and follow their footsteps on guiding them to success.
How's it like working, like, with, because it's legacy, right? Peace of mind now. So what is it like working in there? Because, I mean, he's very competitive, so he's not going to be like, if he's working 10, 12 hours or whatever, and then, you know, like, not no more, no?
No, see, the cool part about where I'm at now is I can coast and pretty much.
But before, maybe when he came
but
in,
I mean,
or no?
your coasting is still a lot of people's 1,000%.
My coasting was his sprint.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, when you go into an environment where it's like, you gotta level. Like, if you're competitive, you gotta level up. You gotta like work more because you want to catch him. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, going with it. Like,
because you probably didn't come from a place that was already at his speed. If not, you would probably like stayed there or anything. You were obviously like looking for a change of speed. As someone who had that same vision in mind.
Yeah, like that's a big reason I chose him, was because like the thing about every sales industry and what I was taught is men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie. So regardless of how he was doing it, everybody knows who Joshua Youngs is in the Medicare industry, because he's the best. Like he's the best of the best. So it's like no matter where you went, everybody knows who Joshua Youngs is. Why would I settle for being some small upline over here that nobody knows about? Like, if you're gonna be the best or one of the best, like, you got to get trained by him. Like, it's not, and it. Like, my first starting, like, it wasn't like Josh just, like, poured into me. Like, it wasn't like how I see it in this kid, I'm going to give him everything. It was like, I had to show up, and, like, I had multiple conversations before I met Joshua, and I was like, dude, I'm broke. Like, I'm down bad. Like, I'm screwed if this don't work. And even then, it wasn't like he was just pouring into me. And I feel like that's what, by the way it looks, is like him giving me the shout-outs and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of people are going to get the conception that, oh, he was handed everything.
Do you think that's a thing that makes like people great when they don't have an option, when they have to make it happen?
Yeah.
I remember you talking about that's when you perform the best.
Your back's against the wall.
Yeah, it's good. I can't give credit to the guys because I can't think of their damn names off the top of my head. But I've seen them in person several times. It's a concept called burn the ships. So you basically want to burn every bridge and burn every ship. So there is no thing to go back to. There is, like for me, when I think we talked about it before, bought a new house, bought a new car, told my wife to quit her job, then quit my job and went to all commission only. Where I was in a position where they're like, do or your family dies kind of thing. And so there's something about the human spirit for people that have the it factor that when they're put in that scenario, you perform. And so, yeah, that's part of the game for anybody who wants to be an entrepreneur of any kind. At some point, you've got to challenge yourself to know. It's kind of like standing at the edge of the pool. You can't learn to swim without getting in. There's no other way to learn to swim, no other way to learn to ride a bike. Those two things are something that you have to do. You can't watch a video. You can't listen to somebody else. You can't watch it. You just have to get in.
But it's only if you're serious about it. Because a lot of people burn the bridge and then they're like half-assing it. So they end up getting screwed over because like, oh, I burned all the bridges, but I'm not 100% bought in.
That's part of the process sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of people burn the bridge, but they always got that plan B in the back of their head. If this fails, I'm going to do this. If this fails, I can just go here. If this fails, I could just do this. To where it's just like you can't have any plan B. Like
if you really burn the bridge, then
there's no other option. And I feel like that's where a lot of people get caught up in their head. It's like, I'm screwed, I'm broke, I'm this, I'm that, and they're not. They have the plan B that's holding them back from breaking through. Like it's like,
they say fear's a mile wide, like in a pool, an inch deep. Like once you do it, you're like, oh.
Well, I think of like, would you jump out of a building, a 50-story building? Would you jump out of a building?
No.
What if it was on fire?
Depends what floor.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
So now you have the motivation behind you. If you're good at putting a carrot in front of you and a fire behind you, you'll never fail at what you're doing. It's that fire, because it's not the carrot. Everybody puts the carrot. I want to make $1 million. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to drive a Bentley. I want to drive a Ferrari, whatever those things are. But they don't put the fire behind them. And it's the fear of loss, a point of pain that motivates. The pleasure part satiates. So pleasure really makes you comfortable. Pleasure creates plateaus. Pleasure creates comfort. Where it's that pain, and that's where people that like Elon Musk. He could have quit at PayPal. He had hundreds of millions of dollars, and instead he literally rolled. Nobody does that. Nobody rolls the whole thing into the next thing 100%. But he did that twice, 3 times, and now the payoff is big, right? But that's an example of burn the ships. Most people, honestly, when you tell them to burn the ships, they don't. They leave some kind of safety raft or some other bullshit in their mind, which is that weakness in the whole thing that makes the whole thing break. And so, yeah, I mean, you've got to go all in ways that other people aren't willing in order to find success other people can't.
It's similar to the difference between discipline and motivation. Motivation is kind of like that carrot, like,
I'm gonna
be good for a little bit, but then once it's gone, it's the discipline that kind of carries you over.
Yeah, I mean, personally, when I was in the welding, that's what I did. I burned the ship. I had all my tools, and I sold everything. I was like, I ain't fucking going back. And you have to, because I was like, if I leave it in the garage, just parked, it's like, I can make really good money go doing it. So I was like, no, let's get rid of it. But for you, so what drives you now? Because like you can coast, like if you wanted to.
Well, I'm really enjoying the whole process. The first Rolex I ever bought somebody was not for me. That's a cool thing to say. So now I'm able to see, like, to know the trajectory that I've put his life on now. Even if I die tomorrow, he still has, he knows the blueprint, the game plan, the system. I'm confident that he could go duplicate it on a level similar to what I could do. And so that's what it's all about for me now, is paying it forward. Because the easy, lazy thing to do is stay fat and happy and just ride the wave of the momentum that I've created, because technically I could live in the top 1% of Americans in income without any extra effort. And really, if I wanted to, I could work two months a year and still do the same thing. But that's boring. That's unfulfilling. That's like if they told me I have cancer and I'm going to die in 6 months, then yeah, that sounds like the proper thing to do. But I just got too much road left. I've got too much to give, and frankly, on paper, I don't deserve what I have. Like if you looked at my life and you saw how shitty of a little kid I was, a little mischievous little bastard, and then in my teenage years, how much trouble I caused my parents, and in school, and this and that. It took me a long time to develop into what I got. It took a lot of people along the way, giving me chances that I didn't necessarily deserve, maybe in second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth chances. And so for me, when I look at all that and the totality of everything, in my opinion, if I were to take the selfish route, God would take it away from me. That's my big fear, is the fear of loss at this point. Loss of being sharp, loss of that, and the amazing difference of my life from June 1st, 2018 to today. I just want to give that to as many people as I can. I want to give them that feeling of my life's completely different. I would never go back. Broke, living less than paycheck to paycheck, smoked, partied, did dumb shit, made bad decisions, treated people poorly, selfish, and now with the wisdom of time and the trials and errors and everything that I've gone through, the blessings I've gotten, it's just changed my perspective to where my whole mission in life now is to create as many trades as I can, to create as many people as I can, where not just their lives, man, but like his kids that aren't born yet have a better life because of it. Their kids have a better life because of it. My kid, like this whole butterfly effect that I now get to have. That, and as an individual agent, even in the top 1%, I could maybe help 1,000 or maybe 2,000 people in a year when there's 90 million people on Medicare. And so I don't know about insignificant, but if someone told me I was going to get 2,000 out of 90 million, I would feel like I had a short piece of the stick there. Mm-hmm. And so for me, if I can get to 500 agents or 200 agents that are doing 1,000 each, now I'm impacting hundreds of thousands of people, maybe even millions of people over my career, not just on this side of the fence with the agents that I'm mentoring, but also all the clients that are now taken care of properly. Frankly, in our industry, for every one good agent, there's 10 bad ones that do the wrong thing or do things for the wrong reasons or don't know what they're doing or have. And for a lot of them, it's just because they haven't gotten the proper training and support.
Because the right mentor.
Like if you look at of all the businesses you could open in America today, what the overhead cost is, what the time investment is, what in essence what the cost of entrance is, insurance by far it has no barrier to entry. If you have $500 and a month, you can get licensed, contracted, certified, and be ready to sell, but not know a damn thing. And so the first person you help would be a miracle if you did the right thing, probably. And so that's why. What gets me going now is I'm making this transition. I'm jumping off the court and changing into the coaching role more, which is probably more fulfilling. It's just not as exciting.
Not as exciting because you see them drop off and
I can't control it.
Like you're seeing the potential they could do and they're just not.
You draw the play up. It's up to them to actually run the play.
Because we've been going, we go to your training. We've done a lot of stuff with their training, and when I go to it, I'm just like, I look at her like, dude, you take this into anything. You can sell anything with like these tactics. And they're seeing it, and they get access to it for free, and they're still not.
Some of them,
and they're still not fucking doing it. Yeah, of course we have.
And they work, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's
what
I'm saying.
You see these branded fellows here? They were not branded when I first met them.
No, the branding is thanks to Josh.
It's massive.
Yeah. And it changes everywhere. Now I go somewhere now. They're like, they look at me like, "Where's your hat?" Like, where they start.
You become as part of your identity.
They don't even recognize you because you don't have the hat on.
Correct. I've pulled away from that now, so I'm not branded except for this. Look in the back of it. There's brand, but. I've removed myself from that because now I want to recruit and attract versus attract clients. And so it's just a different ball game, a different phase. But yeah.
What was the hardest part for you, Trey? Kind of like with like a new upline. Is
moving to Wiggins.
Is it the move?
He said he
Wiggins?
loves
it. Is it learning the product?
I live a block away from that. He just didn't say anything.
What is it? Is it actually calling people up and showing up?
I feel like this stuff is like it's natural. Like, so, like, to me, really, Wiggins is the hardest part for me because, like,
it's not that bad.
It's bad. There's nothing. Like, all I did was watched his training videos, plugged into his systems, and showed up to a few meetings, and I was off to the races from there. So, like,
so maybe you have to move everybody to Wiggins now, where there's nothing to do, and they can
That's
sit there and just train.
distractions.
Well, if you think about it, that's
You got
what
nothing to
if
do.
you go to college and you go to Georgetown, do you go online for courses or do you move to fucking Georgetown for 4 years and be immersed in the environment? That's the difference. It's a tough sell normally to a 23 or 24-year-old. Would you like to move to the middle of nowhere with no fun and no nightlife? Most of them would say, hell no. Fortunately for me, he'd already partied as hard as someone should, or maybe even harder, had it bite him in the ass to the point where now he's living the clean life. And so, yeah, no, it was a perfect storm of everything for him to be here. So I think the hardest part was just probably getting your girlfriend to move here.
oh, she no. We came out here for, like, the Spartan training. She's like, I'll never live here. 'Cause the smell, the everything. She's like, I'll never live here. I'll never live here. And I was like, at the end of the day, like, I'm calling the shots. Like, if I'm confident, like, this is happening. So after the Spartan training, talking to Josh and Aaron, everything aligned. She was stuck in, like, a corporate world to where it came down to it, and they seen potential in her. And literally, like, imagine, just like Joshua says, like, God placed us in each other's lives at such a perfect time. It aligned with me. It aligned with my girl. It aligned with everything to where we were able to find a place. In 3 days we moved in. Like,
You did Airbnb for a month, which is crazy to me.
And I was like, yo, should we move here? And he's like, well,
There's Airbnbs in Morgan?
yeah.
Yeah?
They're not very nice. So I wouldn't recommend them.
Yeah,
like bring your
basically was
own
like,
sheets and stuff.
How
Yeah.
serious do you want to take it? Like, if you want to move here, he's like, he wasn't selling us on it, and that's another part that, like, made me realize, like, yo, this is real. Like, because he was just like, in my eyes, it was like, yo, he's been burned. Like, I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna be that guy. I want to make sure, just like he's helped me come up. I was like, I want to take him out of the field now. Because I had heard him talk about it. So, like, in that situation, like I said, like, the way that he says it is, God put us in each other's lives. It couldn't have been a better time. My girl was working corporate. She was over it. She didn't want to do it. She wanted to start her own business. She wanted to be a part of something bigger. I had been burned in the past, part of my own mistakes and everything like that, to where it was just like everything set up so perfectly. Like, we're in this tiny town. If you look at places for rent here, there's maybe 3 here, and I don't know how to explain it other than it's bad. Like, it's scary looking. So the place that we moved into, like, it's modern, it's brand new, it's got, like, the gray interior, nothing's bad about it. Like, and being here, like, back to his question of, like, what's the hardest part? Wiggins is bad, and that's a hard part, but realistically, like he said as well, I've already partied. I've been through that lifestyle. I've been in the clubs dropping $10,000 a night on a sign that says I'm hiring. With bottle service, I've done all that to where I'm like, yo, let's stack 100 bands in the bank. What's it like to have 100K in the bank? What's it like to grow in the right ways rather than who's going to get drunkest tonight?
Well, so what motivates you now? Because people could say, like, okay, you reach pinnacle top with so much stuff, but what's going to be that thing, that driving force that makes you, like, jump off the building now? Because you're going to be like, you feel like you're on top, like, you can't do more.
I feel like I don't know how to answer that, because I feel like I'll never have enough. I'll never stop going forward. Because, like, I feel like if most people had gone through what I've gone through within the past year and a half, they would have either ended their own life or filed bankruptcy. Before I met Josh, the Zoom call that I had him on, our first interaction, I had negative $427 in the bank and negative $30,000 in credit cards. I had 3 cars, repoed all of them, to where now I've got everything paid off. I've got quite a bit of money in the bank, like more than most people make in a year. I have feasible in the bank right now.
What I'm going is, like, what motivates you now? Because, I mean, you watch UFC. You watch McGregor, he ain't the same. Once you got the silk sheets, he is not the fucking same. So like for you, like you were all that, and now you have something. Now I know, but now you have all this. How do you keep yourself motivated for not being like, I'm in the silk sheets, I'm chilling, I'm vibing?
I guess being sold on like where he wants to take it. Like he sold me a lot on, we're gonna make this thing like $100 million company. We're gonna make it $1 billion company. Like he was texting me the other night and he was like, we're gonna, and that's another part. It's like he's incorporated me. It's not I'm gonna make it $1 billion company or I'm gonna make it. It's we're gonna do it. We're gonna make this a $300 million company, or we're gonna do this, or we've talked about it and he won't sell out for less than X $100 million. And to me, I'm like, now I get to be a part of something bigger with somebody that is family now, with somebody that aligns with goals, that aligns with family life, that aligns with all of my characteristics. So it's like, I mean, it sounds weird to say, but like twins. Like I've never aligned with somebody like that to where it's just like, that's the fire behind me now. It's like I have this dream of, what is that, 9-figure exit of like, he texted me and he's like, would you rather do it alone or would you rather do it with us? And to me, I'm like, back to what I just said, it's family now. We're twins in a sense. We align with 90% of stuff. I have a lot of the same gambling and all that stuff to where it's just like, why? Now I just get to do it with like one of my best friends at this point. No, the top is only fun if you're with people surrounding you. To where now it's like, damn, now he's going to be at the top and I get to be at the top.
He's lonely at the top.
Yeah.
How important is it to like sell that vision to like everybody on your team? Because like you've been selling it for a while, but then it must get frustrating after a while. Like people don't buy in, and until someone finally comes along, and you have to keep that.
Most of our lives by the American lifestyle system are taught to you get knocked down when you have big dreams. Oh, get your head out of the clouds, or any of those other cliches that talk about seeing is believing, or why don't you get a real job, or there's a million different things that
money
people
only
throw.
grows on trees, and
money grows on other people's pockets. That's what they
money is the root of all evil.
It is if you put it in the hands of people that are evil. And so, but yeah, I think finding yourself is the first step. So for me, it was getting past the arrogance, getting past all of the defense mechanisms, getting past all of the inauthenticity of myself, where I wanted to be everyone to everybody. I wanted everyone to like me. Anytime anyone didn't like me, it like affected me. Why not? Or why can't I get accepted? Versus like today is a great example. I get triggered all the time online. All the time, and historically, like literally, it's to the point where I have to. I can't even do the block party anymore. I just keep scrolling now because it literally got to a point where a few of the comments I made in reply to people talking crap to me got it where my Facebook account is now at risk of no monetization and this and that. And so, like if you want to play in the big arenas, you have like everybody says, I want to be my own boss. Nobody's their own boss for the most part. There's a handful of people in the world that have enough leverage, enough money, and enough fame, and all the other stuff that goes with it to where they are their own boss, can do whatever the hell they want. Like Joe Rogan, I think of, could theoretically, they tried to cancel him, and they couldn't. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of person that's at the top, but most people, they don't have that. They've been taught and instructed not to dream big, to fall in line, the crab in the bucket. No one rises or falls above this line. It's that mediocrity. 90% of people are stuck in that bucket, but like 40% of that 90 have the potential to be elevated out. And that's who we're looking for. Is we're looking for people that are stuck in the factory or in the truck or in the office or in the whatever it is. Teachers stuck in the class making $40,000 a year. They got to pull $20,000 a year out of their pocket to supplement supplies and other things. I love helping coaches and teachers and pastors, people that historically have a lot of impact on other humans but don't get the reward that we get. I love to plug those kind of people into something like this because they get to do the same thing. They get to help people, but then the payoff, like this one, Lori on our team, she's one of my favorite humans in the world. When she came to us, she was just divorced. She was doing life insurance, setting appointments for another agent for $15 an hour, in debt, nowhere to go. And the first year she worked with us in the field, she made twice as much as she's ever made in her life as a teacher. And so now she's just coasting in life. She's bouncing around, happy, just got married again. Like this, it changed her whole life because it turned her back into a bright flower. She attracted somebody back to her life again. And so no matter who you are, if you're watching this, if you're down in a spot, if your life sucks, if you feel like you're quitting, that's the perfect spot to be in, because that's the launching point that almost everybody I know who's successful hit at some point before they went up. It's kind of like in the pool. You got to hit the bottom to get back to the surface. It's really hard to go halfway down the pool and then swim back up without the momentum of hitting the bottom. And so you just got to understand, if you're drowning, go for the bottom. Like literally sell out all everything you got, go all in. That way, if you fail, you don't fail with regret, you fail with lessons learned. And in reality, most successful entrepreneurs failed 2 or 3 or 4 times. I was fortunate in that my first attempt at entrepreneurship, I crushed it out of the park and I haven't looked back. But the reality is most of us are going to fail 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times in our life. And even if you try something and it doesn't work, more than likely you just need to find someone else who's already doing what you're wanting to do at a successful level. Talk to them, get them to mentor you. You'll make a few adjustments. And most people are just 1 or 2 adjustments away from success. It's usually what you're saying, how you're saying it, timing. Timing is probably the biggest thing. As an example, most people in the world in business ask for referrals at the wrong time. The proper time to ask for referrals when someone says thank you. And so if they say, hey, thank you for help, that's immediately, you should be pivoting right to, oh, I'm so glad you feel that way. How you can repay me is tell your friends, family, neighbors, other people you know in business about me, about us, about Inceptions, about Trea. So timing is a big thing. Timing is a big thing.
But those lessons you learn because you've done it so many times. I think that's why it's so important for somebody to get someone like you that's walked the waters, done the stuff, and now you have a bunch of you have your whole system where you implement technology with it, like working the leads, running that. Like you got this whole system in it instead of like everyone's like, sounds cool, I'm gonna go start my own business. You don't fucking want to go alone because if you don't have the right tools, like I always think, I have the thought of you can have a lot of money when you want to go into a business, but if you don't have the right tools, the right resources, how you're gonna like do this, the right skill sets, like it's not gonna go good.
Agreed.
So I think like with you guys, talk to me about some of the, like when someone comes on board with you, like because you guys are a recruiting stage, like what is something that you guys do that helps them kind of get kickstarted, like with the systems that you guys got in place and stuff like that.
Because people might be like a superstar under somebody else, but then when they go try to start like their own agency or whatever, they're gonna struggle.
Potentially, I don't know how I would answer that question. I guess what we offer is I'm going to be honest and real, and so if you're not willing to put in what it takes, I'll tell you that. If you are willing to do what it takes, I'll tell you exactly how to do it. But to me, the big thing that I've learned recently is taking it one phase at a time versus what most agencies do is they recruit somebody, they get them through contracting, through training, and then it's basically like a raft, and they push them out in the ocean and say, good luck.
We'll see you.
And bring back some fish.
We gave you the training.
Yeah, bring back the fish. Versus us, where it's more of hooking them up, tying them to our boat, taking them with us, showing them for as long as possible, and then when they're ready to push off the main boat, that's when we make the transition. Or unless they suck, then we just cut them off.
It's like the longer you like help them when they first get started, like the more of a high chance I guess they have of actually sticking to.
Yes and no. For me, I'm more of the dad that throws you in the pool to learn to swim than I am to get in the pool with you.
Okay.
So for like with Trea, his training was watching all those videos you guys recorded for me. So they go through and they watch my academy, which is like 60 hours of content, as you guys know. Okay. And then at the end of that, they can come to me if they want for filling in the gaps, smoothing things out, that kind of thing. But most people honestly don't finish the academy. And then they come back to me and then wonder why I don't give them the full breadth and support of what I could do.
Yeah, because you're tracking it on there. You're like, I know you didn't watch
It tells me exactly how far they've gotten.
Yeah.
Like, exactly.
But that's kind of what I was saying. Like, when someone gets started with you guys have all these tools, like, because it's not just running ads. It's like, okay, now you got to work the lead. Like, you got automation system to respond. Like, that's the
how
stuff.
you actually work the
because
lead.
people think they like, let me just throw $100 at it and it's gonna.
They're looking for the laydown business instead of the lead business.
They want them all to come in. Like a lot of people that I've worked with on training how to do a Facebook lead, the simplest way that I can explain it is shopping for a car. When you go shopping for a car, do you shop on one website or one dealership, or do you shop at 5 websites, 10 dealerships? I want this color, this spec, at this price tag. Everybody's wired the same. Nobody's wired to just go to one place and settle. So it's like the whole thing with like the Facebook leads is like they think that they have unlimited time to work them. Like there was multiple times it was like 1, 2 a.m. I mean, I stay up late, but like 1, 2 a.m. and I'm writing an app because a Facebook lead came in and they're responding now. The next 5 to 8 hours, they could have filled out 5 more forms. Why am I different? It's because I'm working it. I'm willing to sacrifice my time to make sure you're taken care of now. And people, but just like you said, people want the laydown. People want them to call in. People want all the automations to work for them. And like automation is a good like backpack. It'll sit there and help you. Basically, I look at it like a hold line. It'll help keep the customer on hold. But if you don't take them off hold, somebody else will. I'll come back and I'll help them right now. They're not going to be on my hold line. I don't care if it's 11 o'clock at night or 7 a.m. If they're responding to text messages, I was talking about it today. For some reason, the system messed up to where I couldn't shut off the automations from my phone. I'd text him at 11 o'clock at night, midnight. Hey, bro, shut off the automations as I'm responding. And a lot of the time, it was the first text message that came through, and I was like, hey, shut it off, it won't work. And I feel like that's where a lot of people sink, and they're like, I'm not willing to give up my time.
So is that what you did different than other people? Like at the start of AAP, everybody starts at 0.
Yeah, I just think I outworked everybody. But then I'm like I look at him.
You found a lead source that most don't have.
Yeah, but like
I don't have it.
A what? A lead source?
Yeah.
Like
So
what do you mean?
He found somebody that is exclusively giving him. Basically, they're doing all the work of finding somebody, and then they get them to call him.
Similar to what's that? The Korean lady.
Which Korean lady?
The one where when I went with you, did that Day in the Life video you went with her.
Oh,
with
Myung.
Yeah. Like she just automatically just starts sending you people.
Yes, that's a whole different animal. I still don't know why. Other than, well, I know why. I have them. I always thought it was because I was a good agent. It was because they have a crush on me. They told me.
There you go.
So sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the leads are only as good as the person you hand them to. So I can give 100 leads to a shitty agent, and that's what they're going to tell me. These leads suck, blah, 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 blah. Give those same 100 leads to a good agent, and they're going to say, this was awesome, I closed 25, or whatever. So the lead's only as good as someone you give it, but the person you give it to is only as good as the training that you give them. And what people usually do, because usually when you're on the phone with a lead, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall to your level of training. So there is no rising to the occasion for most. Most of us, that's why they've pushed so hard in basketball and football to practice the things that suck, because when the suck happens, we usually revert back to whatever our training is. And so that's really probably the big difference is we give people the training, the support, and the environment to fail enough to be successful. Because you got to fail some. But I guess the biggest thing that I offer somebody is I've learned the 10,000 ways to do shit wrong.
So it's like someone comes in, you already got a head start because you're like, well, don't do that. I'm gonna save you some
people
time.
will be
Don't
like,
do that.
oh, this makes it makes total sense, but it doesn't work.
Theoretically.
Yeah, right. And there's a lot of those things out there, especially with the Medicare environment. Stuff that works to sell cars and to sell radios and to sell TVs and to sell houses does not work to sell Medicare. And same thing with insurance. The stuff that works to sell health insurance to someone under 65, life insurance, annuities, any of that stuff, it's not the same tactics and stuff that works to sell Medicare. Medicare is such a unique environment, mostly because of the combination of two things. The rules we have to follow, where it's overregulated, bad, by people who have no idea what they're talking about. And then you have the consumer who, if you really think about it, like someone who's turning 65 today, was born in 1960. And if you think about their life from 1960 to 1980, which is their childhood, like what was life back then like? Because if I don't know about you guys, but for me, I still would rather listen to 2000s music. Like I'm forever 18 in my heart when it comes to my passions, what I think about, like the movie. I haven't watched movies since then. So if all the movie quotes I can give you are from like Dumb and Dumber and from shit back then, I'd have no new movie stuff, I'm not in that culture anymore. And so I think helping people find that journey that allows them to maintain the presence of their youth and to be childlike, not childish. Those who are childlike usually live the longest, happiest, most fulfilled lives. And so that's really been for me, because again, I'm a credulous, grumpy asshole a lot of the time. And so I fight that natural position because that's not an attractive thing. Like those three things, and you say that about somebody like, ooh, I don't want to talk to that guy, right? Especially when he's admitting that's how he is. But at the core of it, again, those are my defense mechanisms I developed over time that in reality, when you really hang out with me, when you really sit down and you really get to see the true me, that's not me at all. But that's the perception I want to have so that it repels, because you guys, I can't say no to salesmen. Like Aaron, we were on a cruise last month. Awesome experience. I would recommend, if you've never been on a cruise, go on a cruise. It's really awesome.
Sick. Where'd it go to, the cruise there?
We were in the Bahamas.
Okay.
I just lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
You can't say no to salesmen.
Perfect. So we get massages. I have Erin's on Thursday to make sure she gets her massage first. Mine's on Friday. So I'm hanging out with the kids. Everything's fine. She goes on a massage. Doesn't say a fucking word to me about anything other than the massage was fine. Now I go to my massage a day later. That lady was crazy. Hurt both of us, bruised both of us.
And she didn't say nothing.
But they sold a bunch of products. So I bought like fucking $2,000 worth of fucking products. I'm never like fucking
she bruised you up, that's why.
Wrinkle shit, cream for my eyes, and pads to rub on my face every day, and a muscle soak to take baths.
Have you used them all or no?
No, I haven't used any of them. I spent like $2,000, but that's a prime example of Erin knows. She said, "Oh, talk to my husband." And the last time she did that was a door-to-door salesman for Vivint. And next thing you know, I'm in a fucking 5-year contract at $50 a month for some security system I don't need, because I don't know about y'all, but there's been at least...
Well, they got me. I got it too. They
at
got
least
me.
20 nights in my life since I've lived here in 6 years, I've left my garage door wide open all night. And not one time has anyone ever stolen anything.
I was telling her the other day, like, I left my car with the keys inside, the windows down, outside. Nothing happens.
Right.
And it's like, do you need fucking cameras?
Packages. We've been on vacation and packages have sat on our porch all week. Like big ass packages of expensive shit. No one touches it. And so, but I guess I should not say that on a podcast now because they're going to look up my address.
They're going to go look
get
it
all
up.
my stuff.
I leave a package outside my door for half a day and it's gone.
Everyone lives in the ghetto, that's why.
Come on out to Blue Sky or Morgan Heights. I can show you the way.
Yeah, man. Or Wiggins. There's nobody in Wiggins.
Or we're selling our house if you want to buy it.
There you go, Erick. There you go.
If you're in the market for Blue Sky, I've got your house. One of the biggest houses out there.
That's good. But so how are they able to, like, you say you can't say no, like, how are they able to close you so fast if you're in sales? Like, you're the top dog.
Because you're a salesman.
So for me, I appreciate the art of the sale and I appreciate the hustle. And so when I see someone going door to door, as a salesman myself, I can't help but try to reward that. And so, yeah, for me, same thing with tipping. I've been a waiter before. And so I tip sometimes stupid amounts, stupid percentages of money where my credit card goes, hey, did you mean to do that? Yeah, I did, because I understand what that's like. So anytime I understand what something's like, in door-to-door sales, I respect those people because I don't want to do it. Doing massages, like, I know I have a fat, hairy back. I can only imagine some of the stuff they have to do. You know what I mean? And so I appreciate that, and I respect the hustle. I talked to several people on that cruise ship, because the Carnival Cruise Line, there was people from all over the world working on that ship. And I asked every single one of them, so I'm just curious, because as I'm sitting there in their face playing $1,000 a hand of blackjack, I'm just curious, how much do you make a year? You know what the average number they told me was?
What was it?
10,000.
The average?
Average of every person I talked to on that boat that was working makes 10,000 a year.
Damn.
And I was like, man, all of them, I was like, move to America and I'll teach you how to do that a month.
That's crazy.
You know? And so that's the difference in me. But yeah, so I'm easily sold, man. Easily sold. I have a hard time saying no because I don't like being told no.
What's the craziest, flashiest thing you've bought?
His watch.
For him?
A gift for someone else?
Yeah, no, that's my biggest single purchase, other than like a car. But I've never paid cash for a car. I always finance my cars. I don't like giving up cash. Yeah, and then I bought myself a watch, but it was like half as much as what his was.
So he did a good job.
There you go.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So like it is like the beginning of the year. So like if someone wants to actually go out there this year, change their life, get into sales, or do something.
Right now is the time, man. We have from now until March where there's this huge opportunity to make a crap ton of money. Between April and September, there's still opportunity. It's just not hunting season. It's off season.
Because you're going to be in every city doing trainings too. Like not
I'll be
every
all
city,
over the
but a lot
country.
all over the country, right? So we'll put the links down below for people to check out all the trainings that you're going to be doing so they can start booking in, because they got early bird pricing, right?
All the
For
early
someone?
bird stuff's over now.
Okay, they took
It's
too
all
long.
full price.
Took too long.
Took too long.
You waited too long. But I would consider doing a coupon for just the Inceptions podcast.
Okay.
And so we can put something in there for 40% off.
Okay. We'll throw that in there, put the links in there. People, change some lives, help some people, make some money.
Underrated, we the underdogs.